What's up, Ranger fans? It's Steve Cardenas, a.k.a. Rocky the Red Power Ranger, and you are watching Geeks with Issues. It's morphin' time.
Welcome back, true believers, to another episode of Geeks with Issues 20XX. We've got a very exciting episode for you this week, but before we get to the topics, let me introduce to you your geeks. To my far right, your far left, the wonderful wanderer Andy.
Hello.
In the middle, coming to us from an undisclosed location, our tech expert Ogre.
Greetings.
And I, your friendly neighborhood Geekmaster, am Tuck. Let's start with an easy one. Board games. What are you playing now? What's your current favorite? What's the vibe that's filling your game day?
I haven't played board games in a little while, but the Spirit Island is a very good one. Cooperative board game. It's basically thematically the opposite of Settlers of Catan, in that you are cooperatively trying to defend an island from a bunch of white European pieces that are trying to take over the island. It's great. It's a deck building game that it's fully cooperative, and each like spirit has its own different mechanics and how it works, and it's got a lot of replayability.
Nice.
I got two here. One of my favorites and the one I play all the time, Boss Monster. It's a card game, and you pull. So you're a dungeon monster, and you're there to build a dungeon to kill the heroes that are going to attack your dungeon. And the cards that you draw are rooms in that dungeon. And you collect the hero's souls, and the first person to, I think it's 10 souls, wins there. And you build and change your dungeon along the way, and different challenging heroes come in. It's great. You can play 2 people, you can play up to 4 people. Absolutely great if you get a chance to play it there. My all-time favorite game is Talisman, because you can change people into frogs. Yeah.
Have you played the new edition yet?
I have not. I only have the old edition. So
okay. So there is one of the things that's really exciting about the new edition is they've added a expansion called Alliances, where you play Talisman co-op.
Ooh.
And it is punishing, like Talisman should be.
Yeah, Talisman's a punishing game, for sure.
But
it's so delightful.
So the mechanic is that there are special monsters that appear that are like boss monsters that you have to defeat at a certain pace, or else the board just gets overrun.
Oh,
it's a very nice twist on a well-loved game format, and I would highly recommend it. A lot of people were upset because they made it a little bit less punishing in the regular mode, because when you get killed, instead of dropping all of your stuff, you retain all of your stuff and get teleported to your starting square. So there were some people who were a little angry about that. I think some of the new things that they've modified make that lack of punishment not be such a bad thing.
Yeah, they punish you in other ways.
Yes, they do. They punish you in many other ways. So I would have to say my current favorite game, and there's one that's like sitting on it. There's one game that wants to be my new favorite game, Wandering Galaxy, but I haven't had a chance to actually play it yet. The one that is currently my favorite is Starclicker, where you are the child of a famous galactic hero, and your famous galactic hero parent is away when the aliens invade your planet. So you have to jump into your parent's starship and defend the planet. The only problem is you don't know what the buttons are. So, and there is a control panel that you have to learn how to operate
As you're playing.
As you're playing, how to move, how to shoot.
That's cool.
You can accidentally shoot your friends. You can accidentally crash into things. It's a chaotic delight.
That reminds me of a Space Alert that we used to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a friendlier version of Space Alert, I would say.
Okay.
Because instead of planning ahead and watching everything go to heck,
Yeah.
you're
More in the moment.
You're in the moment, fumbling with the controls, trying to figure out how to fly your ship.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is fun because last episode, I mentioned during our discussion on Magic Universes Beyond that I have a spicy take, and I am increasingly not a fan of the Universes Beyond series.
Okay.
And the thing that struck me was when they came for my fandom and announced the Star Trek set, I immediately got spicy about it. So a comment that was brought up was, what about other crossovers? I don't like those either. I think it's lazy storytelling to take other stories and mush them together. I also think...
You look at me like you're expecting disagreement, and I'm just nodding.
I also think I think the thing that really drives me nuts about crossovers is when, particularly in comics, they do this, but it's appeared in other areas, where in order to follow the story that you are interested in, you have to buy 10 other comic series for the next 3 months to follow anything.
Yeah.
That's money-grubbing nonsense.
When the MCU first came out, I was like, oh, good. Like, I've always been kind of interested in comics, but I've never really followed them. These movies seem like a great way to do that. And for the first, dozen or so movies, they were. And now it feels like, oh, this is why I didn't want to get into comics, because it is a job just to keep up with all of these characters you don't care about in order to understand what's going on in the stories of the characters
that you do care about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
one of the things I like about it, because I enjoy crossovers. I primarily enjoy one-shot crossovers. So one comic book, like I mentioned last time, Star Trek and X-Men. I thought that was absolutely delight. Because I got to see Spock play chess with Beast. I thought that was amazing.
Okay.
That was just amazing. There's aspects of those things. Batman versus the Darkness. I got to see essentially the same character with two completely different power sets just do their thing. It was just amazing stuff. And my rebuttal is my favorite crossover is an extended one. Civil War is a crossover.
Okay,
Sure.
that's fair.
Avengers.
I mean,
and X-Men. So,
But when they were doing, I think the fundamental problem that I have with it happened during Civil War too. That unless you came in at the end and bought the omnibus, you had to spend like your entire salary every month to follow everything that was happening in all of the stories. And oh yeah, there's also a special Civil War comic book that fills in the gaps in between all of these things that you also now have to purchase in order to understand what's happening. There's no like catching up. It's you have to follow all of the stuff you don't care about in order to follow the stuff you do care about.
The older I get, the less I care about being behind on certain things and just catching up later.
That's
so
fair.
One solution that I think would work is something like I'd rather get like a graphic novel than a bunch of comic books. I'd rather get here's the whole story contained. This is a story that's worth binding together in a volume and getting that way. I think that's a good way to do it. Another way is just like if you like crossovers. I'm not saying like you shouldn't like crossovers or there aren't people who like crossovers, but I dislike some of the commercial aspects of it. I think fanfic is a great way to do crossovers, but like I can see the desire to like want to see some of those crossovers on the big screen, like you're talking about ogres, that kind of thing. But like if it's big name characters, you want to see it done and well by the people who created them and stuff. But
so to put sort of a final thought on this with crossovers, this is something that both delighted me and angered me in equal measure. There was a crossover book between X-Men and Star Trek: The Next Generation. And a major plot point of the book is the fact that all of the X-Men think that Captain Picard looks like Professor X.
that's funny.
And all of the next-gen characters think that Professor X looks like Captain Picard. Well, lo and behold, now Patrick Stewart plays both characters,
This
darn
was
it.
before?
This was decades
This was
before.
before.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well before.
All right.
So, okay, you predicted it, but at what cost? Okay, time to cool down a little bit, or ramp up a little bit, with a journey from the basement that takes you into the world of truly independent wrestling, the local wrestling group who is doing some fantastic work in the Berkshires. Let's take a look.
Hey, true believers. Trevor here with another Journey from the Basement by Geeks with Issues. We are here in a brand new location. We are here at the Truly Independent Wrestling Control Center. I'm here with Justin Day, aka Justin Kase. He's going to tell you a little bit about what he does for Truly Independent Wrestling. The first question I have for you first, man, is are you a geek?
I would have to say so. Yeah.
So do you think that plays into what you do in professional wrestling?
I don't think I would have gotten to professional wrestling if I wasn't a geek or nerd.
Okay.
Or however we're going to term this here. So
So going into talking about being a geek, is there anything that you would say is like something you're a geek about that people wouldn't expect? Like a weird example would be like Greek mythology. You know what I mean?
I'd own you in Greek mythology. I would own you. All right. We're spirit animals on that. So, yes, Greek mythology is one of them. As a matter of fact, don't forget you also have the Odyssey.
Oh, yeah?
It's going to be coming out. And we got Matt Damon in it, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and they're actually filming in real locations in Greece.
And I think the Iliad in itself, and especially the Odyssey, is one of the greatest stories ever told. So, that's my hero, Ulysses, Odysseus. That's just my That's the greatest story ever told. So I can nerd out in Greek mythology. I absolutely love that. Anything else? I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Okay.
And classic horror movie, obviously 80s, 90s, the slasher genre there. That's kind of my jam.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Of course.
Dream
Oh my
Warriors.
gosh.
Dawkins.
Yes.
Just the cast alone.
So now I'll tie them in together, okay? So one of the guys that kind of helped me out in wrestling when I first started out, he would come out to Dream Warriors. That was his
that's
entrance
amazing.
music, and that was fire. And nobody even knew, right? They're like, "Why are you jamming out to this so hard?" I'm like, "You know what this is from."
Oh yeah, you're picturing the house being glued together in the beginning with the little popsicle
But
sticks.
even when you're with the wrestling nerds, they don't get the other nerdy stuff sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it was like I had to educate the whole locker room, and then now I was a nerd among nerds. But a part of this whole money situation is you're going to phase out basic families.
Right.
You're going to cater to people that have a significant financial,
Right.
amount of money, and that's one thing kind of the old guard did is they kind of took care of families.
Yeah.
You can get nosebleed seats for $75.
Oh yeah. Well, especially
for pay-per-view.
when you had live events that you were getting that mid tier even was only between $50 to $80. But those live events don't exist anymore.
Yep, most of your house shows are gone.
Yep, and all of that is rolled into these PLEs. I mean, WrestleMania 47 in Saudi Arabia. I don't know too many people that are from the U.S. that are going to be flying to Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania.
I am not poor, but no.
Well, you also it takes away the entire secondary like WrestleCon and all the other events that pop up around WrestleMania.
And some people, they live for that. It's the equivalent of somebody that's poverty-stricken sometimes getting a tax return and be like, okay, this is going to help a little bit. Like, WrestleCon helps people. It helps families. Like, it helps them grow. It helps them grow a business. And, it's not going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of people involved in WWE. There's this huge board of directors, and it's not what it used to be.
Wow, thank gosh there is a cheaper alternative. So why don't you tell me a little bit about Truly Independent Wrestling, what you do, what it is?
We know there's thousands upon thousands of independent wrestlers throughout the United States, and there has never been one in Western Mass that performs as well or takes care of his fans as much as Truly Independent Wrestling. And this was started by the Wolves, DJ Scott from Truly Independent Wrestling. He's he's local. He's out of New York. He's on that end of New York, and has brought it over here. He started the company out of a small church in Pittsfield.
That's very cool.
They had to leave it because every show, they could only seat 100 people, and then people were he'd just do free tickets, like standing room, free tickets. Go ahead, guys. These ticket prices run $15, and the best part about it. This is somebody he branched from. We had a home at the Berkshire Mall. He ran a wrestling school out of there.
Right.
It was very popular at the time. We're drawing 300-400 people a show. But unfortunately, with the mall closing, global pandemic, now it's become the traveling show that most wrestling indie companies are for now. But again, caters to that local community, not just in the fact that it's $15 a ticket. Young children are free. And the people that you see in the ring are your neighbors. They're your friends.
Right.
They're people from Pittsfield, Adams, North Adams, Cheshire. There might be a Clarksburg kid in that, but they know who that guy is because he works at the bank.
Right.
They know who that guy is because he works at the local nursing home. They're here to see them, so put them there, put them on the photos, and that's something that Truly Independent Wrestling does very well.
Well, I mean, it's really cool that you guys are here now. I understand you actually have an event coming up, and you have an announcement that you want to make as the GM of Truly Independent Wrestling.
I do. Jamar Justice is our Truly Independent Wrestling champion. And I wouldn't say there was anything nefarious, and I've had my own issues with Jamar Justice. That aside, Redneck Randy Walker has advocated and will be granted a one-on-one rematch for the TIW Championship. On top of it, this will be a specialty match. The specialty in this match will be named by Redneck Randy Walker. This will be his decision on his rematch for the TIW championship. Jamar Justice had a contract. He won a Deck the Halls Battle Royal, and Jamar Justice ghosted us. And there was a contract loophole that said at this point, when time runs out, this may be cashed in at any point. It was a guaranteed contract. That's what it was. And he did it about 2 minutes after Randy Walker won his first championship. So it's in this moment. I've had to have conversations with the board of directors, the owner, and that Randy Walker gets his one-on-one rematch. That will be October 11th. That will be at the North Adams Rec Center. Doors open at 5:30. Show starts at 6. Again, tickets $50.
So I think we've talked about like wrestling in the past, about how we grew up or didn't grow up or grew up peripherally with wrestling. But I'm curious what your thoughts are about a local promotion like Truly Independent Wrestling that's doing pro wrestling with people that you very well might know personally.
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's cool. I think more stuff should be local, more community things should be local, more interests should be catered to the local community. So, geeks, whether they're wrestling geeks or other kinds of geeks, can feel like they have a sense of community and belong to their community and don't have to go elsewhere to get that kind of fulfillment for their creative outlets and stuff like that.
And I think, you bring up a great word, community. Anything that brings people into community is outstanding. So I think it's great to have a local group that brings people together, introduces people. That's just the heart of geekdom, is introducing people, bringing people together, and just it's outstanding. So,
Well, and I think a Between the Geeks topic that will get on Trevor a little bit spicy is the fact that these local promotions allow families and anybody to be able to enjoy professional wrestling without WWE prices.
Yeah.
But we'll,
I've run into that.
yeah. So moving on into the next topic, I've got an interesting one for you. So I have recently been seeing a resurgence of what I would classify as modern retro technology. And this could be as simple as the modernization of a vinyl player, to the specific example that sort of sparked this topic in my head, which is a company that is producing it looks like a 19 and looks like it feels like it's built to resemble a 1970s era Super 8 trigger camcorder. With the idea being that instead of being staring at your phone and not being in the moment, you've got this physical tech element that you can't go back and review the footage until you bring it back to a computer. There's a more analog feel to this modern tech. So I'm curious, question number one, what are your feelings about these modernizations of retro tech? And number two, is there a piece of retro tech from when you were younger that you wish someone would develop?
I think we can't talk about this without talking about like the nostalgia element, because that is the major sort of selling point of that. But I think there's also something important about like separation from screens and screen time, and the harkening back to quality products that were designed to last and not designed to be disposable in a year or 5. And so I can see why there's a lot of demand for that. I'm having a hard time thinking of a specific like item from my childhood that I would want to see reproduced. I was looking at and realizing that like the TI graphing calculator that I have from like my high school days, like they basically the modern versions are basically the same thing. It is one of the only pieces of electronic equipment that I have that has not depreciated in value significantly over the last 25 years. Like the price point for a graphing calculator is basically the same thing. And I saw a newer one and I was flooded with nostalgia. I'm like, oh, so basically that is the thing that they have already done. Like they just haven't, TI just hasn't really needed to change it. Like you can't really add more stuff to it without making it incompatible with AP tests and other stuff like that.
Right.
You can't add more features that are going to make it be able to do more stuff that isn't the point of it isn't bypassing its whole place of being an assistant, like when you are taking a standardized test and proving that you can do math. If it can do all the things without you understanding the math, then it's not meeting its purpose. And like similarly, like you talked about, like the Super 8 camcorder thing. If you're focusing more on fiddling with all of the things that are more like After Effects kind of things, like then you're sort of taking yourself out of the moment of I am filming this, and I don't know. Those are my thoughts on that. Like there is a place. It's important to think about the intentionality of the design, and like nowadays, even like cars will have let's just rather than make some controls, we'll just slap a touchscreen in there.
Although there's a twist on that, because more and more designers are reverting back to dials because the tactility is important for when you're driving.
Yeah, you don't want to be looking at a screen and seeing where your finger is on a featureless pane of touch screen. You want to be able to reach and know where the dial is to control the radio or the air or whatever.
Right, you need to have that feeling of knowing third dial from the left turns the heat up.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to squeak something in here real quick, I think getting people out of their screens and giving them that physicality, giving them, say, using the camcorder is a different experience from using the camera on your phone, which is having an iPod is a different experience than playing music on your phone. Having a Fuji X-Half camera is different from shooting things on your phone. Your phone can do everything, but it's all kind of washed out into the same experience. And I think that's what a lot of people are craving, that diversity of experience, being able to share that experience with other people and just feel it. Plus it's bringing back that 1960s to 1980s vibes, which is great.
And eliminating distractions from all the other features that a device could have.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll just have my retro tech, one word, cassettes. I miss cassettes. Why? There's no good reason. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
I miss cassettes.
I have I'm not sure if it's Dungeons and Dragons or knockoff game. It looked like a cassette, but like you pulled out like a little board that had little magnetic pieces that went around like they were going in a dungeon, and like the two little discs on the cassette were like spinners that would generate a random number 1 through 6, and you use that to like as the sort of random number generator. But it looked like a cassette, except it was like neon orange and green, so it didn't. Like it looked like a cassette, but it also did not look like a cassette.
And with that, we've run out of another episode of Geeks with Issues. I want to remind everyone that Geeks with Issues is online at geekswithissues.net. You can find all of the episodes that you see on TV, as well as special additional features, such as Between the Geeks, our special Between the Episodes show, where the Geekmaster is in the control room pushing buttons trying to get stuff ready for the next episode, and Trevor comes into the studio and talks in an extended fashion with the geeks. We hope you get an opportunity to check all of that stuff out, and check us out next time for our next episode Until then, this has been...
I'm Andy.
I'm Ogre.
And I'm Tuck. Hoping that you geek on, geek out, and geek anywhere. Just remember to clean up after yourself. We'll see you next time on Geeks with Issues. Goodbye, everybody.
You gotta blow on it. You gotta blow on it. I used to think anything was possible. I thought that I could be a king or Caesar. But I don't need all of that gold or silver. That's how I know that I'm a true believer. Some people wanna climb the corporate ladder, TPS reports, politics and schemes. Thanks to my chainsaw, my cubicle is firewood. Now I'm living in a basement of dreams.